So today's topic is human respiratory system. So in this video, we are going to continue with the parts of respiratory system. As you can see, the very first organ is nose. So nose is having a opening of nostrils. So this nostril is having a opening by which the air is entered inside the nasal passage, and from the nasal passage it is going to be in pharynx and then to larynx. From the pharynx, now this is larynx, which is also known as the voice box, where the membranes are present and the amount of mouth we are opening that are creating pressure on these membranes, and by which only we are able to make the different type of sounds. So larynx is also known as voice box or sound box. Now from larynx, we have a tubular structure which is known as the trachea, and trachea is guarded by a C-shaped structure which is known as your cartilage ring. And because we are saying this is a C shape, that means it is incomplete in structure, and that is why this is going to help to not collapse. Do not collapse when air is absent in trachea. So from the trachea, now the air will be going inside the lungs by the help of bronchi. So this trachea has been divided into two bronchi or bronchus, and now these bronchus are going to divide into so many smaller bronchioles, and these bronchioles leading inside a small air chambers which is known as alveoli. So these alveoli are the air sac actually where the exchange of gases is going to be take place. If we talk about the outer structure of this lung, because now we have reached to the lungs, so now lungs is in pair. The right lung is having three parts, that means it is having three lobes, and the left lung is having two lobes. And just below the lungs, we have a muscular organ which is known as the diaphragm. This diaphragm is actually providing space to the lungs when it is in expanding condition. So again, now we will talk about the mechanism of respiration. Mechanism of respiration involves the breathing mechanism and the exchange of gases. The gases exchange occur by diffusion in the alveoli. It depends upon the pressure of difference between the blood and the tissue or the atmospheric air and blood. To understand whole process in better way, we will understand two things first. Firstly, the breathing process. Breathing process is completed into two steps. The one step is known as inhalation of air from outside. That means when we are taking in oxygen inside our body, this is also known as inspiration. And the second step, when we are releasing, exhaling out the carbon dioxide or the impure air outside from the body, which is also known as expiration. By completing these two steps of inhalation and exhalation, the breathing step will be completed. Now we will understand exchange of gases by diffusion with the help of this diagram. So as we know that blood is having red color because of the presence of hemoglobin, and hemoglobin is also known as the respiratory pigment. Why respiratory pigment? Because this hemoglobin is actually responsible for carrying oxygen to the different part of the body. As you can see at the left side, that blood which is entering inside the alveoli or alveolar chamber, that is having low concentration of oxygen, and that is why the color of the hemoglobin is in blue color, but it is containing high amount of carbon dioxide, and that is why the color is represented as a blue or gray color. But when these hemoglobin molecules are going to be passing inside the cavity, there the color will be also exchanging. Why? Because CO2 will be pushing inside the alveolar chamber, and oxygen is received by the hemoglobin molecule. As fast as they can, the oxygen is going to be attached with the hemoglobin molecule. The color of the hemoglobin molecule is going to be changed. So as the color of the hemoglobin is going to be changed, that indicating that the oxygen is present inside the blood is in higher amount and the carbon dioxide is in lower amount. So in this way, with the help of the plasma membrane which is present in the alveoli, they are exchanging the carbon dioxide and oxygen inside the alveoli chamber by the process of diffusion. Why diffusion we are saying? Because as we can understand, inside the alveoli chamber, because the fresh air has been came, oxygen is in higher concentration, और जो blood अंदर आ रहा है, body में already present है blood, वो already आपका deoxygenated blood है. तो deoxygenated that means rich in carbon dioxide. जो carbon dioxide वाला blood है, that will be pushed inside the alveolar chamber, and जो oxygen है that will be pushed inside the blood vessels. इसकी वजह से diffusion simple process के through हमारे जो gases है वो एक्सचेंज हो जा रहे हैं. सो आपको मेरे ख्याल से यहाँ तक की चीज़ें समझ में आ चुकी होंगी. तो बाय द सिंपल डिफ्यूजन प्रोसेस द गैसेस हैज़ बीन एक्सचेंज एंड नाउ द एक्सपायर्ड एयर, जो एयर हम बाहर रिलीज करेंगे, दैट इज़ रिच इन कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड एंड वेरी लेस अमाउंट ऑफ ऑक्सीजन इज प्रेजेंट. एज यू कैन सी इन द डायग्राम, द परसेंटेज ऑफ ऑक्सीजन एंड कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड इज ऑल्सो mentioned here. In this video, we had discussed about the process of breathing and the process of diffusion. Now we will discuss about the steps involved in the process of breathing. The breathing mechanism involves two processes, inspiration and expiration. During the process of inspiration, there would be a contraction of muscles attached to the ribs outer side, which pulls out the ribs and results in the expansion of the lungs. Later, the diaphragm contracts and moves downward and expands the chest cavity, resulting in the contraction of abdominal muscle. Now the expansion of the chest cavity produces a partial vacuum which sucks air into the lung and fill the expanded alveoli, and in this way the inspiration process has been completed. The step has been completed into 3 steps. Now with the expiration process is considered once after the gases exchange occur in the lungs and the air is expelled out. The explosion of air is called expiration. During this process, muscles attached to the ribs contract and the muscles of the diaphragm and the abdomen relaxes, which leads to the decrease in the volume of the chest cavity and increase the pressure of the lungs. When the pressure of the lungs is going to be increased, again the air will come inside and causing the air in the lungs to be pushed out through at the nose. Hope you understand the process of respiration properly.